All right, hello. My name is Paula, and we're just going to sit and chat. I'm here with another worker with our company, and we're just going to talk about things that we've experienced in the world of care and communities. My name is Paula, like I said, and as far as experience being an administrator, I think I've been doing that now for 35 years, but actually started when I was 18, and I'm 64 now, so is that 47 years? That's 47 years. Very scary. Can't believe I lived this long. But yes, so I started working with people with developmental disabilities, and now I'm working with both people with developmental disabilities and the aging population. And so now I'm giving it to Dana. Take it away.
Yeah, hi, I'm Dana, and I came to long-term care in a roundabout way, but for the last 17 years plus, I've been working with an elderly population in assisted living, and I'm really passionate about giving great care to people, about person-centered care, about making sure that individuals get respect and dignity and all that good stuff. In my past, I've worked in the medical industry, doing some hospital medical records work, and then I went into hospice as a hospice rep and discovered assisted living through my work there, and really fell in love with it.
I did not know that part. All right, well, we are both very passionate about this, and I think when we do our trainings, that comes out.
Well, behavior, sometimes I want to think about noise pollution. I went into a small assisted living facility one time. They had 4 residents, but they had like 6 different noise sources going on when I walked in the front door. They had a TV over here that was playing a travel video, and then they had someone in the kitchen who was banging pots and pans. I heard that noise. 2 bedrooms where 2 different televisions were on, blaring the news. I heard all that when I walked in. I started to feel agitated.
Yeah, confusion.
And then there was a caregiver sitting with the residents, playing their own music and singing along with it in a completely different sound. And I said, you know, they all seem okay right now, but I bet you come dinner time or bedtime or time to give them medication, you're going to wonder why they're agitated.
Right. Their nerves have been fried.
I feel overwhelmed,
Right.
and overstimulated
Yeah.
by what's going on in
Right. I agree. Yeah, noise pollution. Okay.
there. Yeah,
Yeah,
something to think about.
definitely. I don't think I have a story for that.
And it can be light and it can be temperature.
Yeah, yeah, lighting is important as well. But sometimes overhead light, I find, can be very, for some people who are light sensitive, upsetting. It's not homey, you know, but it is necessary for, let's say, hallways.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
required.
But if you're having, and this comes back to being creative and being observant, if you're having people who are being difficult to care for because of their behavioral expression, look at things like that. Look at things like pain. If you've reached certain ages in your life, you've noticed that you start to have more aches, more stiffness, more arthritis is going on. So somebody who gets to the age of 80-something or around there, they might not be able to tell you they hurt, but maybe they
Right.
need routine Tylenol.
Right.
And maybe they'll be a lot easier to take care of.
That happens a lot, that they can't identify exactly what it is, but it could be pain.
Well, I'll tell you one more story.
Yeah, please do. I love stories.
I had a resident who was pretty easygoing guy. He participated in things. He couldn't really express himself verbally. But one evening they were walking him to the dining room, and suddenly he just stopped. He could walk fine, but he needed someone to escort him to the dining room, and he just stopped walking and he started crying. Just stood there crying. And it didn't take long. It was a few seconds when we looked at him and we noticed he was wearing slip-on shoes like this, and the heel of one of them was bent under, and it was under his foot. And he couldn't tell us what was wrong, but as
Right.
soon as we saw that, we were like, oh, sat him down, fixed his shoe, and he was fine. He got up
Right.
and went to dinner.
Yeah. Okay. I had a story like that too, and I've already told it before. But yeah, I had somebody who went through the same kind of situation where he just started cursing at people all the time. He was in his 80s, started just randomly cussing people out. And it wasn't all the time, it was just sometimes. I'll just shorten this. Going to the dentist 6 months later, finding out that he had this huge abscess on his gum because his partial was broken and this little wire was digging in to his gum. But he loved food, and so he believed that he had to have that partial in order to eat. So he kept putting it in and just dealing with the pain, but it was causing him to,
There you go.
yeah. And so I failed because I did not check. That's something
Another good example of why staff need adequate training, and they need to, be able to pay attention to the residents and notice when something is going on with them.
or ask.
Yeah.
Or ask. Yep. There's a lot of examples of behaviors that happen because of a memory that somebody has, something that caused trauma in the past. And it's not something, let's say, they think about all the time, but when there's a reminder of it, it does maybe cause something that looks like a challenging behavior.
And getting to know people, going back to person-centered care, knowing where they came from, what their history is, who they are, who they were before they might have,
Right.
developed dementia or whatever they're dealing with. That can go a long way in knowing how to approach
Right.
what their issue is. I had a lady who whistled all the time, and not in a pretty melodic way.
Okay.
And I can't whistle, so I can't do it. But it was just like doo 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 doo
Okay.
doo 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 doo
Oh, repetitive.
all day long.
Yeah. Okay.
And we tried various things because she was driving the other residents kind of bonkers. But come to find out, she lived at home with her bird, and they talked to each other all day. They communicated back and forth. She and the bird whistled. That was just understanding why
Yeah.
she was doing that. It was we tried different things to distract her from that, but I'm not sure if we ever really were able to make her stop.
Just curious, when she did that and you knew what it was because of her bird, did you just ever decide to talk about her bird? So tell me about your bird. I mean,
That would have been
Something else
that
to
would have
do.
been a good approach. I don't think I didn't try that.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I would try to give her snacks because I figured if she was
Busy
keeping
chewing.
her mouth busy, she wouldn't be doing the
Yeah.
whistling.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Some things do go back, and then there are some things that are even more traumatizing. And I heard this story a couple years ago, and it was a woman in an assisted living. She was in her mid 80s, and she was having these challenging behaviors to the staff. The staff couldn't figure it out, and so she would say the woman would say, "I got raped," and she was talking about something in her past, and the administrators, there was two of them, said to the staff, no, she didn't. And I asked, well, how do you know that didn't happen? And they said, well, we asked the family, and they said that never happened.
Okay.
So I didn't get any further into it because it would have turned into some kind of really deep discussion, possibly an argument. But I think it's really important to consider what the person is saying about whatever happened to them, and not just assume that that they're just making stuff up because they want attention. This is a real story, and it wasn't with an elderly person, but this was a mother. So what happened was with this mother, she took her young son to the mall, and he was excited. He was only 5 years old. He was excited. He ran towards the mall doors. The mom was coming behind him. She was locking the car. He goes and he opens the door because he's excited to go in the mall. He wanted to buy Pokemon stuff. So as she is walking towards the door, she sees her son holding the door open, and people are coming out of the door. So he's just standing there holding it while people are walking out. Well, suddenly she just kind of freaks out. She runs over there. She grabs him by the arm and she says, "What are you doing? Don't hold the door open for people. You shouldn't do that." And she stopped and she thought, whoa, what was that? Why did I do that? And suddenly she remembered. When she was 5, she got molested when she was holding a door open for two young people, adults,
Okay.
two young men. She held the door open as a 5-year-old. They weren't supposed to be where she was, and she got molested. And so she never thought about that. But but she knew it happened, and all these years she
Kind of
thought she was
repressed it.
over it. Yeah, it's okay. It was in the past. I got over it. But as soon as she saw her son doing that, sudden fear just came into her, and she behaved that way. And she didn't have a chance to think about it. Everything's okay. That was a long time ago. Her initial thought was something's going to happen to him.
Huh, yeah, yeah. And when a person's had a lifetime,
Right.
their family might not know the
Right, of
things that
course.
happen. I've heard stories of people who had survived the Holocaust, who refused showers,
Yeah.
and somebody put two and two together and
Right.
realized that the word shower has a terrifying connotation to somebody who had been in concentration camps. Anxiety comes along with aging quite
Yeah.
a bit. So when those traumatic experiences might be hard to put aside, we think sometimes people, they have no short-term memory, but their long-term memory gets stronger.
And their nervous system is still active.
Sure.
So those emotions get stored in the nervous system.
Sure. And when we talk about activity programming for individuals who have dementia, we're trying to string together pleasant experiences
Right.
throughout the day.
Yeah.
Because if you make somebody happy and you make them laugh and they feel safe, you release hormones, feel-good hormones, that even if you forget in 15 minutes that we had a good time and you were laughing, you still have this safe feeling.
Right.
And it goes the same for fear and anger
Right.
and pain.
Right. Right. That emotion gets coded with that person.
Yeah.
They can't remember exactly what happened, but
I just know
but
I
my
don't
nervous
like
system
you. Yeah.
remembers that I don't feel good around you.
But then this is why families will call up their loved one and say, "Hey, Mom, what did you do today?"
Yeah.
And what the parent always says, "Nothing."
Yeah.
They don't remember.
Oh.
And that's why we do take pictures
Yeah.
and videos and share it with the family to show that.
That's a great idea.
She was dancing and
Right.
she made a friend and now she says nothing, but we're having all these good
Right.
experiences.
Right.